Burnout is not failure. Yelling does not make you a bad caregiver. Feeling exhausted does not mean you're weak. And the guilt that you carry does not mean you're doing something wrong. If you're caring for someone with dementia and you have snapped, cried in the bathroom, felt rage, and then shame right after, this video is for you. Because what you're experiencing is not a character flaw. It is a nervous system under siege. I see caregivers blaming themselves every day. They think if they were more patient, more loving, more calm, they would not feel this way. But dementia caregiving is one of the highest chronic stress situations that a human nervous system can experience. If you do not understand why burnout happens, you will keep turning normal stress responses into personal shame. And that shame is what breaks caregivers, not the caregiving itself. So today, I want to explain why yelling, guilt, and exhaustion happens. What is actually going on in your brain and body, and how to start releasing the idea that burned out means failure. Hi, I'm a Neurology Nurse Practitioner, and I work with dementia clinically. I work with caregivers every single day. And I want you to hear this from someone who understands the brain, the disease, and the human cost. Burnout is not a moral issue, it's a biological one. Most caregivers do not start burned out. They start out committed. They start saying things like, I can handle this. I just need to try harder. They will do this for me. I promise I will never put them in a facility. And slowly, the days get heavier. You repeat the same sentence 50 times. Then you get accused of things that are not true. You lose sleep. You stop finishing your thoughts. Your body is tense all the time. And then one day, you raise your voice. And immediately after, the guilt hits. How can a person yell at someone who's sick? What is wrong with me? You ask, right? I should be better than this. That moment is where many caregivers decide that they are failing. But that moment is actually a signal. Burnout happens when demand exceeds capacity for too long. In dementia caregiving, it's not just emotional labor, it's cognitive load. It's vigilance. It's grief without closure. It is chronic uncertainty. Your brain is constantly scanning for problems. Did they eat? Did they wander? Did they take something dangerous? Did I miss something? That state keeps your nervous system in survival mode. You cannot stay there indefinitely without consequences. Yelling is not about anger. It's about overload. When your brain is overwhelmed, the prefrontal cortex, the part that's responsible for patient reasoning and emotional regulation, goes completely offline. And at the same time, the stress center of the brain are on high alert. That means your ability to pause, choose words carefully, and stay calm is biologically reduced. So when someone with dementia repeats the same question for the 10th time, or accuses you, or feels scared, your brain reacts, before your values can intervene. So that's not failure. That is a nervous system hitting the limit. If you ever said, I do not even recognize myself anymore, that is because chronic stress changes how your brain functions. This is why willpower alone does not fix burnout. Now, guilt, on the other hand, shows up because caregivers care deeply. Your values say be kind, be patient, be compassionate, but your nervous system says, I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed. When those two collide, guilt fills the gap. But guilt does not mean you harm someone beyond repair. It means your expectations of yourself are not aligned with what your body can sustain. Caregivers often hold themselves to standards that they wouldn't apply to anyone else. You would never call another caregiver a failure for snapping once, but you do it to yourself. That internal pressure accelerates burnout. This is not normal tiredness. Caregiver exhaustion is not fixed by a good night's sleep. It is cumulative. You are managing another adult's conditions, safety, emotions, and behavior, while you're also grieving who they used to be. That kind of fatigue lives in the nervous system, not in the muscles. And here's something most people do not tell caregivers. You can love someone deeply and still be depleted by their care. Those two things can coexist. Burned out does not mean you're failing your loved one. It means the system around you is insufficient. It means there's not enough support. There's not enough rest. There's not enough predictability. So in dementia care, burned out often signals unmet needs in the caregiver, not lack of devotion. We need to stop framing burned out as something to push through. Pushing through is how caregivers break. So first, what I would like for you to do is name what is happening without judgment. Say, I am burned out. Don't say, I am a bad caregiver, because language matters. You cannot think your way into calm when your nervous system is overloaded. Small moments of regulation matter more than big self-care plans you never have time for. Stop expecting yourself to respond like someone who's rested. Your reactions make sense in context. This does not mean we excuse the harm. It means we address the cause instead of shaming the symptom. If you have yelled, if you have cried in the car, if you have fantasized about running away and then felt ashamed, even thinking that you are not broken, you're human in a quite inhumane situation. So once again, burnout is not a failure, it's a feedback. And when we listen to it with compassion instead of judgment, healing becomes possible. So if this resonated, I have an entire dementia education series on my YouTube channel where I talk openly about caregiver stress, behavior changes, and what is actually happening in the brain. And if you are a caregiver with questions that perhaps you don't feel safe asking publicly, I also host live Q&A sessions where you can submit your questions and be heard. Both are linked on my channel. You do not have to carry this silently.